Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's live. If you are watching this back, then hello, well done for catching up. Today will be really based around things that you can do to help prepare yourself for that first day in school. So this is great for ECTs, whether you are newly qualified and entering your first classroom, or maybe if you are already experienced and you have had a class before, but you just kind of need that reminder and need some kind of points just to keep calm and feel prepared for when you go into your first classroom. So I'm going to try and keep this brief. Hello to everyone who has joined. Try and keep it brief. I'm going to kind of split it up into 3 different parts, and I'm going to try to talk fairly quickly so that I can fit it into one IGTV that can be saved here for afterwards. So they're going to be in these 3 categories. I'm going to talk about things that you should probably do the night before the children come into the class, and then also things to do once your pupils actually arrive. Now, I do want to just put a little disclaimer and say that everyone is different. Some people might say, don't do this. Other people might say, I always do this. It's, something I love doing and I think it's a great thing. Teaching is very flexible in that way. And one thing that you will learn as ECTs is that it's your classroom now. There's no longer a mentor that's saying, oh no, we'll do this, we'll do that. You do have that flexibility. So take things that I say with a pinch of salt, because you might want to do things differently, and that's absolutely fine. These are just things that I think might help you, and then, if you're not sure of what to do, hopefully we'll kind of guide you in the direction that is comfortable for you. So that first section that I mentioned of things to do the night before or the day before seems really obvious, but get completely ready for everything. Just be prepared. So, get your outfit ready the day before, prepare your lunch the day before, all of these little bits and bobs, even go over the route or, practice driving there if you're an anxious driver like me. All of these kind of things, just do it the night before so that you're not going to sleep and thinking, right, I need to get up at this time so that I can make my lunch at this time and I have to leave at this time because I don't know the way there, or I'm not sure where I'll park, or anything that you can do to avoid additional nerves, just do it. Be prepared. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, it can only act in your favour. So that seems like an obvious one, but I would definitely recommend it. Once you start getting into the habit, we kind of lose it. You just kind of think, oh, I'll do lunch in the morning. But definitely on your first day, just try and do everything the night before. Another thing that I would do that helped me absolute tons, and I mentioned it in preparing for your PGC, but obviously if you guys are ECTs, then you might not necessarily have watched that, but is to have some form of a brain dump. So when I started my class teacher role, I had kind of this notebook, and I'd never done it before, and I don't know why. I'm kind of beating myself up for not having done it earlier. But I would literally have have this tab open, and don't forget to do this in the morning, and don't forget to sign in or collect your, class teacher badge or lanyard. Any little thing that you think, right, there is a possibility I might forget in the morning, and they're already in your head, just write it down, because you do not want to keep replaying those thoughts before going to sleep, and then in the morning questioning yourself, thinking, what was that thing I was trying to remember last night? Have I already forgotten it? And then, you get worried. As you can probably tell, I'm kind of like a little bit of a worrier, so I'm talking from experience here. But definitely have some kind of brain dump, even if it's just, you're half asleep and asking your partner to text you something so that you have it as a notification in the morning. That's absolutely fine as well. And the last thing is, again, pretty obvious, but sometimes we need that reminder to ourselves, get a good night's sleep. It is very easy to think, I'm just going to do the last minute edit here, or gosh, I'm so nervous, I've got so many jittery feelings, I'm going to just watch another Netflix episode. But do try and get a good night's rest, because let's face it, we've been on holiday, we've been on summer, you may not have woken up at the time that you'll have to wake up now, you may have not had to set alarms for a while, just definitely get a good night's sleep, because you do not want to feel stressed and then also tired on your first day. Now you have arrived in school. It is part 2, things to do before the children come in. Now I'm just going to refer to my notes, just so I don't forget anything. But one thing I would do is to have a timetable up, ready to go, and also make sure the date is correct. So I'm not sure how it goes with secondaries. I mean, they'll probably have, timetable schedules, but for primary, make sure that you have some kind of visual timetable up. And even if you don't have any of those cards ready, just be ready with a paper timetable that you can explain and go through with the children, because there's nothing worse than not knowing what's coming next. Some children might like some subjects more than others, and you don't want them feeling that dread of, oh gosh, what's coming next. So definitely have a timetable and date set up. Other little things that you can just look around the classroom. So maybe check that pencils are sharpened in the pencil pots. Easy things like that. If you're expecting them to do writing and it's the first day back and they already have to have blunt pencils, it's not really fun. Little things like that. Do the books have names on them? If they don't, then that might be a great job for your TA to do, if you have one, to do first thing, so that they can familiarise themselves with the names of the children, and also that's one job less for you to do. So little things like that, just looking around the classroom, what needs to be done. If there's something that's missing, oh, where is that? Or just checking, oh, I need to make sure where so-and-so is. Oh, okay, it's in that tray. Got it. All of these kind of little things that you do not want to be doing once the children come in. And I'll kind of go through that in a little bit. Another thing is make sure you can access things that you will need on the computer. So, for example, any computerized safeguarding programs, so there's CPOMs and My Concern, things like that. If your school uses it, make sure you can access it, because you don't know the circumstances of your children, and it might be the case that they've had 6 weeks at home. If that's not a safe environment for them, there might be something that you need to straight away put into, a safeguarding computerized program, whatever your school does. So don't just assume, oh, first day, nothing's going to happen, I don't need anything. You never know. So make sure you can access that. If your registration system at school is computerized, so you use something like Integris, make sure you can log into that, because there's nothing worse of having all the children, and this, applies in secondary as well. There's nothing worse than having to take down a register and then you realise you can't access it, and then you have to call the office or ask a TA if they've got a login and ask your team teacher. It's just a lot of, messing around that you don't want. So just check before they come in if you can access all of those really important programs. If you are in Key Stage 1, for example, and you want to, go into some kind of phonics games, do you have the login for that? If you are going onto a website that has some videos but requires a login, can you access that? So on and so forth. Another thing linked to computers, and this was one of the things that I wrote in my brain dump, was what tabs to have open. Because if you are looking through endless files on Google Drive, especially, I think a lot of schools have started putting things on Google Drive or OneDrive just because of the whole pandemic home learning situation. So just make sure you've got that open, you've got your, register program open, you've got any videos that you need open, any PowerPoints, just have it all open so that you can, I'll tell you what to do when the children come in a second, but you can just get straight on with your day then, and you don't have to start opening things, closing things. Oh no, now this doesn't work, or oops, YouTube is blocked. Just avoid all of that. Have it all open. It might look like loads, but obviously close them as you go, and it will save you a lot of hassle and last minute panicking, or what was the name of that website, etc. I hope that's making sense so far. I'm not talking too quickly. Lovely to see people still joining. Thank you. Another thing I would do, 2 more things before the children come into school. So I would write myself an achievement list. As you know, I'm not a believer in to-do lists. I like to write achievement lists, which kind of work the same, but the mindset is different. So it's more, Here is what I'm going to achieve. And then when you see what you have done, it's, wow, I have achieved something, rather than with a to-do list, it's, oh, I haven't done that yet. You know, it's just a different mindset. So write an achievement list of things you want to do, maybe during your lunch, maybe during your break, or things that you need to remember. Oh, I need to ask this person this, or all those kind of things. And you will, you know, you probably have figured this from your training year, that there is quite a lot of stuff to remember. So just have it written down, keep it on your desk so that you can keep referring to it, or keep, you know, checking them off as you go. The last thing I would do, and I kind of mentioned it before, if you have any TAs or support staff so that are one-to-one with a child, just make sure you introduce yourself, have a little chat with them, and just make sure that they're familiar with what's happening during the day as well. This personally, during my training year, was one of my targets, and it would often be the case that I didn't have a chance to chat with my TA previously, and so they would be asking me in the middle of the lesson, what do you want me to do, or what's going to come next? And, you know, it was just another added stress rather than it being support, if that makes sense. So that is everything to do before the children come in. Now the children or the teenagers come in, what should you do on your first day? Now, let me scroll down on my notes. One thing I would do is to greet everyone individually and directly. So this might vary, like, for everyone. Some people might have them all lining up and then they all come in at once. Other people might kind of have children coming in as they go. That depends, you know, varies per school. But I would make sure to greet them all individually, especially as it's the first day. And if you don't know their names, ask their names. But it's not a great feeling if it's the first day of school and you come in and your teacher's just, I don't know, opening tabs or sorting books out. You know, it doesn't feel particularly welcoming. So, you know, start building those relationships from the get-go as you mean to go on, and just greet them. You know, have a little chat if you want to. Oh, you know, how was your holiday, or how are you feeling about coming back to school? Yeah, it's just nice. You know, if you've been away from work for a long time, you would do the same with your colleagues as well. So definitely do that with the children. Another thing, and this was one of those controversial things, is a get to know me activity. Now, quite interesting, I read on Twitter that people were asking for some examples, and lots of the comments just said, don't worry about this, go straight into learning. You know, by 9:15 I plan to be doing my English lesson. Absolutely fine. If you are new to the school and you didn't have the opportunity to maybe do a transition kind of day or afternoon, you might want to do a get to know me activity. Absolutely fine, but it's always nice, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, to at least do some kind of icebreaker, or here are some facts about me, tell me one fun fact about you. Even if it's just doing that in the register, it's just nice to make the children feel welcomed, for you to get to know them, and again, like I said, building those relationships up. Okay, yes, so with that timetable, again, just explain how the day is going to go. Just say, right, this morning we're going to do this, this, and this. After lunch, we're going to do this, this, and this. Just to give them an idea of what's to come. I mean, I kind of mentioned it before, so I won't dwell on that, but it's really important. And funnily enough, if there were days when I was ever particularly busy in the morning, or something came up and I had to deal with something and I forgot, the children would be like, haha, it's the same as yesterday, or, oh, okay, so after lunch we don't have any subjects, you know, and they'd find it absolutely hilarious. But they'd look at that timetable more than you think. So especially in primary, have one up, you know, it takes you 2 seconds to update, and it's just really useful. This is a big one. So set expectations. There's lots of different ways you can do this. You can kind of sit down with them and talk to them about, okay, well, what do you think is a good learning environment? And they might come to you with suggestions, putting their hands up and saying, oh, well, I think it's really important that when we're learning, it's quiet, you know, we need to be kind, and all those kind of things. Brilliant. You might want to, as a class, create some kind of class charter or class rules so that everyone's involved, and then when you reinforce them in future, you can say, right, well, guys, we worked on this together, you all agreed to this, we now need to stick to it. You know, those kind of things. But this is where those individual teaching styles and teaching ethoses kind of come in, because you might want to do this in several different ways. And then obviously you've got the ones that you expect, your expectations, the school rules, and then, like I said, maybe a classroom charter or something like that. Obviously, when they're older, you can get suggestions from them as to what you think the rules should be, rather than just lecturing them, because make them involved in the process. That's really important. But then from this, you can't just hang it up and ignore it. You need to constantly reinforce, because if you let that first day, you know, if you let them off and it's like, oh, okay, well, they've broken a rule, but, oh, it's your first day today, don't worry about it, then, you know, you're not setting, what's that expression? You're not setting it on the right track. Somebody help me out. There's an expression for that. But yes, set out as you mean to go on, and just really be persistent with those rules, you know, especially during like break or transitioning between classrooms in the corridor. You know, just make sure everyone knows what their expectations are. And the last thing, I don't know why I had to look at my notes for that, just enjoy it. You know, it is the first day, potentially the first day of your career. It is your first class. It's all very, very exciting. Just try and enjoy it, build those relationships, enjoy it. On the right path, thank you. I think it cut me out, but I just said basically enjoy it, enjoy building those relationships, and yeah, have fun. I'm sure you're going to be brilliant and amazing if it is your first day as an ECT. I'm not sure of the time. I'm going to pause this because I think they're not going to let me upload it otherwise. So I will hop on again on a live if anyone wants to ask me any questions, but I will see you there in a second. Thank you for joining, everyone. Bye.